In this video, you're going to learn exactly how to sell all of your accounting, your bookkeeping, and tax planning services like a pro, and you're going to finally start to be able to close deals on the call and start collecting in some serious cash and overall just become more richer. My name is Navan, and I've grown my own bookkeeping and accounting business to over 6 figures in total revenue within 12 months of doing these exact same techniques. So let's get into it. So obviously selling accounting and bookkeeping and tax planning, it's a pretty boring topic just to start off with. No one really wants to talk about accounting. No one wants to really learn about it. Most people that do, they're typically introverts. And yes, I'm talking about you. Don't lie. If you're in accounting, you're probably some kind of a introvert. So there's a simple method that I've developed over my time of selling this service. And once I got it dialed in, it made sales calls 1,000 times more easier. And no, I'm not saying I sold and I closed every single client, but my close percentage went way up. I'm talking it went from like a 5%, maybe 10%, all the way up to a 30, 40, 50, sometimes 60% close rate, depending on the certain kind of lead. The most common mistake that I see people make, and I used to make this myself, is I wasn't prepared. And it's not that I didn't just wake up and then jump on the sales call. It's that I never had any template, any pre-framed call. I didn't have an idea of how I wanted this call to go. I wasn't mentally prepared. I was thinking about something else. I was thinking about a client deadline. I was thinking about a fight that me and my girlfriend had a couple weeks ago, or the night before, or something like that. And I'm here to tell you this now. If you're gonna close on sales calls and you wanna close more often, you need to be prepared for it. Now, what are ways to be prepared for it? You can have checklists. Those are huge. You can have pre-qualifying questions. So have the questions that you want to ask this potential client, certain things about their business, certain things that they're looking for. And ideally, before they jump on the call, usually they go through a booking phase. So they have to book in a call. They have to reach out to either your assistant or yourself, and then they have to go online and book in a call. And typically you're going to have questions lined up there. Those questions should be detailed, structured, so that when you get on the call, you've already got the main questions answered. Okay, so the person is on the call. What do you want to do now? You want to frame the call and you want to position yourself as the authority figure. Most salespeople and most accountants who take sales calls, what they do is they go straight into pitching. And the prospect is, first off, they put up all of their blinders. They get super defensive. They're not really trusting you because it just feels like you're trying to get the money out of them because you're just pitching, you're pitching, you're pitching. You're not really talking to them as a human being. And that's not what you want to do, okay? You want to really talk to them and you want to understand exactly what their problem is. So ask specific questions. I have my sales process here, and the questions that I want to ask them is, what are their revenues? What are their expenses? Are they behind on any filings? Are they behind on any bookkeeping? As well as, do they need tax planning? And what I mean by tax planning is like corporations, holding codes, family trust, etc., etc. Those questions are going to give me enough detail to know exactly what kind of pain that prospect's going through. And it's going to allow me to position the call the way that I want to. So let's say someone comes to me and they're looking for bookkeeping, but it turns out that they're behind on a corporate year end, as well as maybe a couple personal tax filings. I go, okay, I can use this, not necessarily against them, but I can use it to my advantage to upsell this person. So I will explain to them the bookkeeping process, and then I'll throw in some nice benefits about the year-end process. But I was only able to know about that year-end process because I asked the right questions. So back to my comment earlier of never pitch them right off the bat. I don't think you should pitch them at all, okay? I've gotten on sales calls where I try to build up rapport. I start asking them about their day and stuff like that, and the person is busy, they're in a rush, and they go, I just want to know how much and what you offer. And that's all that I want to know. And the way that it comes across is, who are you and why should I hire you? And I sometimes get people asking me those exact words. They say, well, why should I hire your firm? Which is a completely fair question. And my exact response to that, I'm going to give you all the sauce right now. So You better start closing calls because of this, because you're going to be taking my sales. I am literally dropping the sauce here. So let's say you were on a sales call with Joe, and Joe says, well, why should I hire your firm versus X firm here? My exact response would be, well, Joe, to be completely honest, I don't know if you should hire our firm. I don't even know exactly what problems you're having. I don't even know if I can help you at all. So if you're fine with it, why don't you give me a few minutes? I'm going to ask you a couple questions. That's going to give me exactly what I need to know to answer any questions that you have to be able to take care of all of your pain points. And then from there, we can determine if we're a good fit or not. If we are, great, we can go ahead and get you onboarded today. If not, then, no hard feelings, and have a good day. That just put you in the driver's seat. Now you can ask the questions that you want. Now you can have them open up, and all of their defenses go down, because now they're like, okay, this person's not just trying to pitch me. They don't even know if they should work with me or not. So they're not desperate for my business. They genuinely want to know, what are my problems and can they help me? And if they can, how? Okay, so never pitch them. Always position yourself and reframe the call to you asking certain questions that expose themselves. Now, what kind of questions would that be? That's going to be questions seeing exactly what they need, and honestly, if I can even help them. One thing that I don't offer, depending on the client, I mainly don't offer this, but sometimes I do, is payroll services. So if I'm on a sales call with someone and they specifically are only looking for payroll services, I'll maybe try to see if they can get pitched on some certain tax planning and stuff like that. But for the most part, I don't necessarily even want that client, because it's not something that I offer, and I'm not going to be desperate over something that I don't want. So what kind of questions do I ask that open them up? I want to know exactly what they're looking for. Okay, are they late to file? Do they need bookkeeping? Do they need a personal return? Do they need all three? Do they need a VAT return done, or a GST, or a sales tax return? Do they think that they're paying too much at their previous account? Do they think that they're overpaying in taxes? Do they not like the process? Did their firm sell and now they don't like the new accountant? What exactly do they want? That's going to allow me to actually determine if I can even help them. And what you want to do is you want to listen to what they say, and you want to double down on that. So if someone says that they want monthly reporting, double down on that. They say, I want monthly bookkeeping, and I want to have a monthly profit and loss statement at the end of every single month. You say, okay, Joe, well, that's perfect, because the way that our bookkeeping process goes is we do X with Y, and what that does is that gets you a monthly profit and loss statement at the end of every single month. And obviously, as you know, having a profit and loss statement is exactly what you need to understand what your expenses are, what your revenues are, and overall grow and make more money. But you can only do that when you have an accurate profit and loss statement, right? Right. Okay, great. And then you move on. You want to double down on why they want that profit and loss statement. You want to double down on the words that they're saying. Another thing that you want to do is you want to show them the future with you. People are very creative, and they like to picture and imagination and all that stuff. So you want to show them, you want to draw out a picture of what the future is with yourself. And what I mean by that is, sometimes I find myself getting lost with trying to tell them the features of this software and that software, and what we can do here, and what we can do there, when really the person doesn't even care. And when I realized this, I thought, okay, what's a way that I can still get that same result inside of their head without actually telling them what the result is in like accounting language that no one understands? And the way that I do that is I storytell. I let them know, let's say I'm on a call with a construction business owner, and he's tired of losing receipts, he's tired of keeping track of bank statements, and he's tired of having a shoebox full of a bunch of crap. Now, if I have a software like a cloud storage based software that holds all of his receipts, invoices, bank statements, stuff like that, I could say, look, let's say his name's Joe again. I'll say, look, Joe, this is exactly what's going to happen. At the end of the month, you're going to have all of these receipts, all of these invoices, and instead of them just being stuffed inside of your truck and then your guys sitting on them Maybe you got a dog, your dog sits on them, your dog's wet, you just went to the lake, it gets muddy and dirty. You either lose them, or at the end of the month, they're completely destroyed. Now, what we do with our software is it's an app that downloads on your smartphone, and once you get that receipt invoice, you just take a picture, and then honestly, John, just get rid of that piece of paper. And what that does is that makes John or Joe think about, you're right, I do get in my truck a lot. I'm always dirty. My guys are in my truck with me. They're always dirty, whether we're working in the ditch or construction overall, it's just dirty. I've got my paperwork here. They're stepping on it. They're moving it. They're tired. They're obnoxious. I don't want to tell them, hey guys, don't sit on that paperwork, because then they might leave, because, construction, it's kind of like that touchy industry. There's certain things that you want to do, and there's certain things that you don't want to do. So when you paint that picture inside of Joe or John's head, that's allowing him to think, the second I get that receipt, okay, I just take a picture, and then I just forget about it. That would be very helpful. Yeah, okay, no, I like that. Yeah, no, let's do it. That's what you want. You want to paint the picture inside their head. Another tactic that helped me close more and make more money on my sales calls is objection handling. Now, the main objection handling that you should only receive is price, because if you followed all my steps that I told you before, you should have already identified what they want. You should have already positioned yourself as the authority figure. You should have already a solid understanding of why they're actually on that call and exactly what they are looking for. And if you can deliver on that service, now you're going to talk about pricing. If the person doesn't complain about pricing, then you're done. You've closed the deal, you are good. But if they do complain about pricing, or they say, oh, that's too much, or oh, that's expensive, I have two responses to that depending on what they say, and 80% of the time they work. The other 20% of the time that they don't work, we usually end up negotiating a price that I'm happy with and that the client's happy with. If ultimately we can't find a level middle ground, then do you really want to work with that kind of client anyways, who's cheap to pay for quality service that you can provide? I mean, you are providing a skill and a service that every business needs and desperately wants. And here you are providing it, and they don't want to pay for it. Is that really someone that you want to work with? Is that someone that you want inside your circle? If it is, then you can deal with the headache. But if it's not, then I wouldn't take that client. So going back to the objection handling, the common response is, you're too expensive, or that's too much, or that's too high of a quote, or whatever. Two responses that I use that solve 80% of that. Never lower your price right off the bat, okay? Most people, they give the price and then they go, but we could do this, but we can do that, but we can apply this discount, but if you sign up today, then blah, 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 blah. Or once the person objects and says that that's too much, they say, well, I guess we could go $100 lower, or we could go $1,000 lower, or whatever the price is. You don't want to do that. That's your last resort, and that's only if you really want to work with the client. Your first option is, hey, Joe, totally understand. And most businesses do want that nice cash flow feature to their business, and when you're paying such a high price like this, sometimes that does get in the way. I completely get that. So why don't we do this? Why don't we jump on a monthly billing plan? And what that monthly billing plan does is, first off, it keeps me in business, because now I can pay my staff, I can pay for all of my softwares, and when I can do that, I can deliver you the exact service that you're looking for, so that you can get your profit and loss statements at the end of the month. You see what I'm doing here? I'm bringing up words that the prospect has already brought up, and I'm reinforcing what they want. Now, that typically works. Now, let's say they can't make it work on that monthly billing, or bi-monthly, or bi-weekly, or weekly, or whatever structure framework that you want to use. You sometimes have to give them a reality check, and there's nothing wrong with that. You shouldn't be afraid to do that, as long as you do it politely. You don't want to be like, well, what the heck do you think, that's too much, blah, 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 and then you just get into a screaming match. It's not what you want, okay? You want to still be professional and be respectful. So again, you want to draw the picture of what their life is going to be like with you and without you. So let's say John or Joe wants that monthly profit and loss statement. You can say, hey, Joe, you know what? I completely get it. And here at my business, I have an open door policy where if you have questions, comments, or anything like that, you just bring it up the second you have them, and then we can deal with it right there. That way it doesn't waste my time and it doesn't waste your time, and we can get back to what we enjoy doing, which is making money or building houses or whatever the person does. John, I want to ask you a quick question. Cool? Okay. If you didn't move forward today and if you didn't have this service, what would your business look like? What would your normal week look like? How exactly would you get that monthly profit and loss statement? But you want to show them what their life is like without you. So when you paint the picture, Joe, what would it look like if you don't have this monthly profit and loss statement? Like, what does it look like if you don't know how much you're spending and how much you're making? Are you going to be able to make a smart business decision based off of that info, or you're basically just guessing at that point? And I mean, if you want to guess, like, you might as well not move forward with this at all, even with a discounted rate, because you might as well save all the money and just guess and go off a whim. Now, if they say that they're going to find someone cheaper, you could say, Joe, you know what? I completely get that. Maybe they do find a different local firm that has the exact same service as you, but you don't want to position it like that, because then you just lost the deal. You want to position yourself as someone who is above. So you could say, Joe, I completely get it. You know, if all you're looking for is a cheap price or a lower price, you could find someone who's doing this part-time and who works from home and who works out of their basement, and you could 100% get it for a fraction of what my quote is. But the only thing with that is you're getting someone who's not 100% focused on your books. You're getting someone who's distracted by other family members living in the house. Maybe they're living with their partner. You know, the person could be having breakfast at the dinner table, and as they're eating, their family's there, their girlfriend's there, their kids are there. Do you want someone who's like 50-50 on it, who's not 100% committed to your books, working on your business's financial records? Like, I mean, if you do want that, then I 100% recommend it, because you will save the dollars, but is it going to be done right? And then what happens if it's not done right? Then you need to spend more money and time and headache just to fix it. I mean, is that something that you're looking for? Almost every single person says no. And then from there, you've brought reality back to them by showing, look, you want a top-notch service, you're going to get that, but it's not going to come cheap. And that's not what is important right now, because ultimately at the end of the day, it's cheaper to pay this price up front now and get exactly what you want the way you want, versus taking the cheap route now and paying for it later. Okay? That's exactly how you want to handle those. And that's how I handle them, and every single one of them agrees, and then I close the call. Now, the last thing that you want to do is you want to have a plan at the end of the call. Before I came up with any of this, I would just tell them what the price is, and they'd say, okay, great, cool. And if I had to think about it, I'd say, okay, sure, fine. Okay, sounds good. Take care. Bye-bye. And then I do follow-ups and follow-ups and follow-ups for months, and I would never close the whole deal after that. So you want to have a plan. If they are not sold right on the call and they want to think about it, they got to go back to the business partner, their wife, their husband. They need to work out some numbers. You can 100% say, okay, Joe, that is 100% fair. It's always smart to work out your numbers and get a solid idea before you make a huge investment like this. Now, just so I know, and just in case you have any questions, I want to keep my calendar clear for you. So let's say if it's a Monday, I'll say, why don't we schedule something in for Thursday, just to go over everything in case you have any questions, and then from there we can move forward, or we can go our own ways. Does that sound fair? Yeah, sure. Okay, cool. How does 2 o'clock work, or whatever your calendar is? That is how you end the sales call. You either close them, you get them onboarded, or you get a follow-up call scheduled in so that we know exactly, okay, 3 days from now, we're gonna have a follow-up call. We're gonna go over any questions that you may have. And that is what you want to do. You don't want to end the call kind of like, oh, okay, I mean, I guess this could happen, that could happen, whatever. No, have a solid plan and clear path of what's happening at the end of the call. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. That is exactly how I've closed over 6 figures in total sales for my own bookkeeping and accounting practice. I can guarantee you, if you take these tips and you apply them to your own sales calls, I can guarantee you, you will be closing much more and you'll be making a lot more money. If you guys want more, make sure to drop a quick like, as well as if you want one-on-one coaching or you want one-on-one custom help, then I'm more than happy to jump on a call with you, and I'm more than happy to tell you exactly what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, areas that you could fix up, and areas that you're doing perfect in. So without further ado, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.